Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. Let me start today's episode with a simple question. What if you could improve your English every single day without spending 2 or 3 hours sitting at a desk, memorizing hundreds of words, or feeling tired and frustrated after studying?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. Let me start today's episode with a simple question. What if you could improve your English every single day without spending 2 or 3 hours sitting at a desk, memorizing hundreds of words, or feeling tired and frustrated after studying?
Exactly, Julia. And that's why today's episode is really important. We're going to show you how you can build a simple English learning routine that takes just 30 minutes a day. And the best part is that you can practice speaking, listening, vocabulary, pronunciation, and confidence in those 30 minutes.
So, if you usually say, I don't have time to learn English, stay with us. Because today, we're going to help you turn just 30 minutes into a powerful daily English habit.
That's right. Grab your headphones, get comfortable, and let's learn how to make your 30 minutes count. Let's begin.
Jason, before we talk about the actual 30-minute routine, I think we should answer an important question. Why only 30 minutes? Some English learners might be thinking, 30 minutes doesn't sound like enough time to become fluent.
That's a great question, Julia. And you're right. 30 minutes by itself is not a magic number that suddenly makes someone fluent. But when you use those 30 minutes with a clear plan and practice consistently every day, they can make a huge difference. Because your brain gets regular contact with English instead of seeing English only once or twice a week.
Exactly! Think about someone who studies English for 3 hours every Sunday, but doesn't practice at all during the rest of the week. They may learn a lot on Sunday, but by Monday or Tuesday, many of those words and expressions may already feel difficult to remember.
Right. But imagine another learner who practices for just 30 focused minutes every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and so on. That person is constantly listening to English, speaking English, learning useful expressions, and reminding their brain that English is part of their daily life.
And that's the important word, daily. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to study for hours. You need to create a habit that you can actually continue.
So don't think, only 30 minutes? That's too little. Think, I have 30 minutes today, and I'm going to use them wisely. Because small practice, repeated consistently, can become a very big improvement over time.
And now, let's see exactly what you can do with those 30 minutes.
Okay, Julia, let's start with the first 5 minutes of our 30-minute routine. And this part is very simple because we're not going to open a grammar book or memorize a long list of vocabulary. We're simply going to wake up our English-speaking brain by talking about things that are already familiar to us.
I like that idea, because sometimes learners make English practice too difficult from the beginning. They sit down and immediately think, what complicated topic should I talk about? But you don't need a complicated topic. You can simply talk about your morning, your plans, your family, your work, or even what you can see around you.
Exactly. For example, you can start by saying, Good morning. Today I woke up at 7 o'clock. I had breakfast, and now I'm getting ready for my day. Then you can continue with another sentence like, Today I need to study, finish some work, and call my friend. The goal is not to sound perfect. The goal is to keep your mouth moving and your English active.
And here's a little challenge for everyone listening. Look around you right now and describe 3 things in English. You could say, there is a table in front of me. My phone is next to my computer. I have a cup of coffee on the table. See? You are already practicing English.
That's it. Spend those first 5 minutes speaking about simple, real things in your life. And don't stop every few seconds to correct every little mistake. Just keep speaking, because this warm-up prepares your brain for the rest of your English practice.
So, 5 minutes, simple English, no pressure, and most importantly, speak out loud.
Great, Julia. After warming up our speaking muscles for 5 minutes, it's time for the next 10 minutes. And this time, we're going to focus on something that can make a huge difference in your English: listening and shadowing.
Yes! And I think many learners already listen to English every day, maybe through podcasts, YouTube videos, movies, or music. But there is one small problem. Sometimes they listen passively, which means they hear the English, but they don't actually practice producing the sounds themselves.
Exactly. And that's where shadowing comes in. Shadowing simply means listening to a short sentence and then repeating it aloud, trying to follow the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, stress, and natural speed as closely as possible.
So, for example, if you hear someone say, "I'm trying to improve my English every day," you don't just listen and move on. You listen carefully, pause if necessary, and then say the sentence yourself. I'm trying to improve my English every day.
Right. Then you can repeat it 2 or 3 more times, and each time, try to make your voice sound more natural. Don't worry if your pronunciation isn't perfect at first. The purpose is to train your mouth and your ears to work together.
And you can make this activity even easier by choosing a short English clip that is only 1 or 2 minutes long. Listen to one sentence, repeat it, listen again, repeat again, and continue until you become comfortable with the speaker's words and rhythm.
Exactly. During these 10 minutes, don't try to understand an entire movie or a complicated conversation. Choose simple English that you can actually follow, because your goal is not just to hear English. Your goal is to listen, copy, and speak.
So remember the 3 steps: listen, repeat, and copy. Just 10 focused minutes like this every day can help you become more comfortable with English sounds and make speaking feel much more natural.
And now that our ears and pronunciation are warmed up, let's move to the next part of our 30-minute routine: learning useful vocabulary that you can actually use in real conversations.
Okay, Jason, now our ears are warmed up, we've practiced our pronunciation, and we've already spent 15 minutes with English. So let's move to the next 10 minutes, which are all about vocabulary. But this time, we're not going to memorize a huge list of random words, because knowing a word and actually using a word in a real conversation are 2 very different things.
That's exactly right, Julia. Instead of learning 20 or 30 separate words, choose about 5 useful words or expressions and learn them inside complete sentences. When you learn English this way, you don't just remember the meaning of a word. You also learn how people naturally use it.
For example, let's say today's expression is, "I'm running a little late." Instead of simply memorizing the word late, you can learn the whole sentence and imagine a real situation where you need to use it.
Right. You could say, "I'm sorry, I'm running a little late, but I'll be there in 10 minutes." That's much more useful because now you have a complete sentence that you can immediately use when you're talking to someone.
Here's another one. "Could you give me a minute?" Maybe you're busy, you're doing something important, and someone asks you a question. You can naturally say, "Could you give me a minute? I'll be ready soon."
And here's another useful expression: I'm not sure, but I'll check. This is a great sentence for everyday conversations because you don't always know the answer to everything, and you don't need complicated English to communicate clearly.
I also like, that sounds like a good idea. You can use it when a friend suggests going somewhere, trying something new, or making a plan. These are the kinds of sentences that make your English more practical.
So, during these 10 minutes, choose 5 useful expressions. Understand what they mean. Say each one aloud several times, and then create your own sentence using each expression. Don't just read the vocabulary silently. Make your brain connect the words with real situations.
And remember, 5 useful expressions that you can actually use are much better than 50 words that you recognize but never use.
Exactly. Learn less, use more, and make your vocabulary part of your everyday English. All right, Julia, we've reached the final 5 minutes of our 30-minute English routine. And this might be one of the most important parts, because now we're going to take everything we've practiced and use it for one simple challenge. Speak English without translating every sentence in your head.
Yes, because I know this happens to so many English learners. They want to say something in English, but first they think in their own language, translate the sentence into English, check the grammar, and then finally try to speak. By the time they are ready to talk, the conversation has already moved on.
Exactly. So for these 5 minutes, forget about creating perfect sentences. Choose one simple topic and talk about it continuously in English. You could talk about your family, your daily routine, your favorite food, your plans for tomorrow, or something interesting that happened today.
And here's an example. If your topic is your daily routine, don't try to translate every sentence from your first language. Just start with something simple. I usually wake up at 7 o'clock. I have breakfast, and then I start my day. Sometimes I feel tired in the morning, but after I drink some water and move around, I feel better.
Exactly. Notice that those sentences are simple, but they're clear and natural. You don't need advanced vocabulary to practice speaking. The important thing is to keep going, even if you make a small mistake or forget a word.
And if you forget a word, don't immediately stop and reach for a translator. Try to explain the idea using other English words. If you forget the word umbrella, for example, you could say, the thing you use when it rains. That's actually a great speaking skill.
Absolutely. Real communication is not about knowing every word. It's about finding a way to express your meaning. So, for the final 5 minutes, choose one topic, start speaking, keep going, and allow yourself to make mistakes.
Don't wait for perfect English before you speak English. Speak now, make mistakes now, and improve little by little.
And with that, you've completed the full 30-minute routine. Now, let's put all 4 parts together and see exactly what your daily English practice can look like. All right, Julia, we've learned all 4 parts of our routine, so let's put everything together and make it really simple. If you're listening right now and thinking, okay, but what exactly should I do tomorrow? Don't worry, because we're going to give you a complete 30-minute plan that you can follow every single day.
Yes, and I love this part because you don't need a special classroom, expensive course, or a huge amount of free time. You just need 30 focused minutes, a quiet place if possible, and the decision to practice instead of waiting for the perfect moment.
Exactly. So here is your first 5 minutes. Speaking warm-up. During these 5 minutes, talk out loud about your day, your plans, your family, your work, your studies, or anything you can see around you. Don't worry too much about mistakes. The goal is simply to start thinking and speaking in English.
Then we move to the next 10 minutes, listening and shadowing. Choose a short English conversation, podcast clip, or video. Listen carefully to a sentence, pause it, and repeat the sentence aloud. Try to copy the pronunciation, rhythm, and natural way the speaker connects the words.
After that, spend 10 minutes on vocabulary and real-life sentences. Choose around 5 useful words or expressions. Learn them inside complete sentences. Say those sentences aloud, and then create your own examples. This way, you're not just collecting vocabulary, you're learning how to actually use it.
And finally, we have the last 5 minutes, speaking without translating. Choose one simple topic and speak continuously in English. If you forget a word, explain the idea another way. If you make a grammar mistake, keep going. Your goal is communication, not perfection.
So let's say it one more time. 5 minutes speaking, 10 minutes listening and shadowing, 10 minutes vocabulary and sentences, and 5 minutes speaking freely. That's your complete 30-minute English routine.
And here's something important. You can do these 30 minutes whenever they fit your life. Maybe you practice before work, during your lunch break, after school, or in the evening before you go to bed.
Exactly. The best time is not the time that sounds perfect. It's the time you can repeat consistently. If you can give English just 30 focused minutes today, and then do it again tomorrow, you're already building a powerful habit.
And remember, if you miss one day, don't think you've failed. Just come back the next day and continue. Progress doesn't require perfection. It requires returning to the practice again and again.
Beautifully said, Julia. Now, let's put your English to the test with a quick speaking challenge that you can do with us right now. All right, Julia, we've talked about the complete 30-minute routine, but now it's time to stop listening and actually use your English, because even the best English lesson won't help much if you never open your mouth and speak. So, everyone listening, this is your quick speaking challenge, and I want you to answer 3 simple questions out loud.
Yes! And don't worry if your answer isn't perfect. You don't need advanced vocabulary or complicated grammar. Just speak naturally. Use the English you already know and try to make complete sentences. Ready?
Question number 1. What did you do today? Take a few seconds to think, and then answer out loud. You could say, "Today I woke up early, had breakfast, went to work, and spent some time studying English." But don't copy my answer. Tell us about your day.
Great! Now let's move to question number 2. What are you going to do tomorrow? Maybe you're going to work, study, meet a friend, clean your room, or simply relax at home. Try to give us 2 or 3 sentences about your plans.
And here's the final question, which is probably the most important one. Why do you want to improve your English? Maybe you want to speak confidently, get a better job, travel to another country, understand movies, communicate with international friends, or simply feel proud of your progress.
Take a moment and answer honestly, because when you know your reason, it's much easier to stay motivated when learning becomes difficult.
And remember, if you made mistakes during this challenge, that's completely okay. Every mistake gives you another opportunity to notice something, learn something, and become a little better.
So if you answered all 3 questions aloud, congratulations! You didn't just listen to an English podcast today, you actually used your English.
And now, Julia, let's finish today's episode with one final message that every English learner needs to hear.
Jason, I think today's biggest lesson is actually very simple. You don't need to wait until you have several free hours before you start learning English. You don't need perfect grammar, a huge vocabulary, or a perfect study environment. You just need to give yourself a little time every day and use that time with purpose.
Exactly, Julia. If you can spend just 30 focused minutes a day listening, speaking, practicing useful sentences, and thinking in English, you're creating something much more valuable than one long study session. You are creating a habit.
And remember, your English will not improve overnight, and that's completely normal. Some days you'll feel confident, and other days you'll forget simple words or make mistakes that you didn't expect. Don't let those difficult days convince you that you're not improving.
That's right. Keep showing up. Keep listening. Keep speaking. Keep making mistakes. Because every time you practice, you're giving yourself another chance to become more comfortable and more confident in English.
So, here's your challenge. Starting today, give English just 30 minutes a day for the next 7 days and see what changes. You might be surprised by how much progress can come from such a simple daily habit.
And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like this podcast, subscribe to the channel, and share this episode with another English learner who wants to improve but feels they don't have enough time.
And we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell us, what will you do during your 30 minutes of English practice? Maybe you'll inspire another learner in our community.
Thank you so much for spending these 8 minutes with us today. Remember, you don't need more time. You need to make the time you have count.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and don't be afraid of mistakes.
We'll see you in the next episode of the English Learning Podcast. Bye, everyone.